Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and true to my word, I'm continuing with the series Equality Cages. We've got to crack them. We're going to have to keep doing these difficult puzzles in the weekends until we can actually play catch up here. So we're already up to 111. Actually, I didn't check how many are already in there. I'm sorry, pardon me. I'm going to have to just quickly check what that is because I am curious. Right, equality cages are already up to 123. So yeah, we do have a way to go yet before we can actually say we've caught up. And thankfully, they're not all necessarily 2-star or more difficulty rating, so we're not going to necessarily have to just focus on weekends to catch up here. Right, now the thumbnail itself will make a lot more sense when you understand the title, because it's called Searching for Fives. So what you have in here is the digit 5 trying to sort of camouflage in the forest, so you won't even be able to spot it, but somehow I'm sure you're all going to be able to find it. I'm actually excited to see what this new slight twist, slight variant in equality cages is all about. Let's get into the puzzle. So you're going to have to forgive the text here in terms of rule set, so I will take you through it as usual, because I think it's probably just about readable, maybe not even that. As always, of course, the rules are going to be in the description if you want to prefer to follow that along there. But very quickly, we've got obviously equality cages, 111, by gUBBLOR, searching for fives. And the following set of rules. So normal Sudoku rules apply, so that means place the digits 1 to 9 in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. I don't know why I always struggle in selecting 3x3 boxes, but that's a 3x3 box, and there are no repeats for the digits 1 to 9 in any of these. Traditionally, I've always come back to equality cages last, and I think I'll stick to tradition, or maybe second to last. Kropki dots, going to be very familiar for regular viewers of this channel. It means a black dot between two cells indicates two values that are 2 to 1 apart. So if that's a 2, that would have to be 1 or 4. As long as one cell is double the other, you're good to go. Same in here. We also have white dots. So white dots have to be consecutive. If that is a 2, this would have to be 1 or 3. Now, I'm pretty sure, yet not all dots are shown, so nothing wrong, for example, with having two consecutive numbers like 2 and 3 in here. The fact that there is no white dot in here does not stop this. We have x's, so adjacent cells connected with an x must sum to 10. Again, no negative constraint, so for example, if this is a 2, this would have to be an 8. So that these two cells add up to 10. And again, nothing wrong, for example, with me having a 3 and a 7 in here. The fact that these two cells add up to 10 is not a problem, and it doesn't require an x between them. Right, let's cover equality cages first, then come back to search for fives, or search fives, as gUBBLOR called it. So equality cages. So cages must have an equal number of low digits, as in 1, 2, 3, or 4, and high digits, as in 6, 7, 8, and 9, as well as an equal number of even, 2, 4, 6, 8, and odd digits, 1, 3, 7, 9. Notice that I did not include the digit 5 in any of these because equality cages can never contain 5, and digits may not repeat in a cage. Now, that's a lot of words to say, for example, that if this is a 2, that's a low even digit. I now need to have an equal number of high odd digits. So this would have to be from 7 or 9. And the same will be true if this is a 4-cell cage, a 6-cell cage, it doesn't matter, as long as if you count up at the end, the number of low and high digits is the same, and the number of even and odd digits are the same. And of course, no 5s in any of these. Now, the new rule here, that's a variant, is you can probably see all of these arrows on the puzzle around the grid here. And essentially, each arrow points to the closest 5, where the digit on the arrow is how many cells away the 5 is. Now, for example, assume there is an arrow in row 1, column 1 up here, and that is a value of 1. And I guess it's pointing to the right. Yes, it is. Then a 5 would have to be in row 1, column 2. So if we take this arrow here, for example, and we put the digit 2, what it's saying is, pointing to the left, 1, 2 apart is the closest 5 to that arrow, and therefore we'd have to have a 5 in here and a 2 in there. Is there anything more to it? There may be multiple arrows pointing to the same 5, and it's not necessary for every 5 to have an arrow pointing to it. So really just focus on the arrows. I could have, for example, a 5 in here. There is clearly no arrow pointing to it whatsoever. That is not a problem. Right. If you're not intimidated by everything that I've just shown you, if you feel like forging into the forest, searching for these 5s and finding them all, link will be in the description down below for you to play along as usual. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. Now, something that I always make almost like a mistake about on the regular is when it comes to these equality cages and some of the variants and twists around it. The fact that there's a lot of places where 5 cannot be, and it's literally spelling in the title what we should be doing, what I'm tempted to do is essentially cover the grid in some sort of color to show all the cells that cannot be a 5. And then from there, let's see if we can start to pin down where the 5s are and therefore what the arrows are pointing towards. So obvious things, equality cages, it's literally in the rule, they can never have a 5. So 5s are not in any of these cells. Black dots, such as these, can never have a 5 because 5 times 2 is 10, too big. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, doesn't work. No 5s in here. 10s, never a 5 either. So if that's a 5, what it's saying is there is another digit in here that makes these two cells add up to 10. Well, that would be a second 5, and clearly that's broken the Sudoku rule set. So if we color all of the X's with a gray again, and essentially everything that's gray in here is not a 5. Question is that enough? It really doesn't feel like it's enough. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going and I'm going to use the arrows. Now, there's nothing in the rule that says you cannot have a 5 on the arrow. I think that part, yeah, is left ambiguous. And therefore, some of these arrows might actually be 5. However, I don't think the arrow, when it's not pointing diagonally, so if it's pointing horizontally or if it's pointing vertically, you'll immediately get into trouble if it is a 5. So let's show what I'm thinking here. If that's a 5, supposedly it's pointing to a cell onto the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cells along. That is also a 5, and that immediately breaks Sudoku rules. Now the same would be true for verticals. If that was a 5, it's pointing in the same column, and that would immediately break it. Now, that's not necessarily true for diagonals because it could be pointing outside the box, outside the column, and outside the row. So I think I can essentially color all of these as gray, but I'm not sure I can for the diagonals just yet. Still not enough. Row 8, you can see these two cells are both pointing into the middle. So I don't think the 5 could be behind it. In fact, you can just use that in more generically. Forget row 8. That can't be a 5. Otherwise, how on earth is it pointing to one to its left? So that's not a 5. Same for this one. Behind it can't be a 5. Yeah, that's much more helpful. None of these could be a 5. That can't be a 5. That can't be a 5. So 5 is in one of these 3 cells. And in fact, specifically, it's in one of these 2 cells. Because if it's in here in the middle, then both of these will be 2, and that will break. So this is 1, 3, this is 1, 3. You can see now on the white Kropki dot, this is 2, 4. On the X, this is 6, 8. It's not enough still. Of course, the fact that the 5 is in here, it means none of these are 5. So this is actually starting to get quite limited. So is this when you think about it. Essentially, this is either a 1, it's not 2, it's not 3, or 4. That's quite a limited set of cells. I really did pick a wrong color because you can barely see the numbers that are pencil marked in here. I'm not sure if that's helped because I think on the arrow is very difficult to see the digits, so apologies for that. Here again, it can either be 1, it's not 2, 3, 4, 5, it could be 6 or 7. It feels highly unlikely it is 6 or 7, but it is possible. This feels like open season all the way to here, so not helpful. In there, it can be 1, 2, 3, and 6. 1, 2, 3, and 6, I said. 1, 2, 3, 6. In fact, it is just 6. Sorry, this is impossible to see, and I don't know how to make it a bit more visible. Yeah, purple will do fine. It's an equality cage, and I've put low odd digits. It's got to be a high even digit. 6 is the only one that's possible in here, so it is a 6. That's a 5. None of these now are 5s. I really picked a very garish color here with the purple, but it will do. That's a 6, that's 1 or 3, that's 2 or 4, that's 6 or 8, that's 1 or 3. What's next? So the 1 or 4, the 5's in one of 2 cells. And I'm kind of trying to think, what are the implications of this? That feels like the breaking point. So if this was the 5, humor me, I'm going to use yet another color. That would mean, and that would be an orange. Then one of these would be an orange, and therefore this would be orange. And this would be 1, and this would be 1, and we're repeating digits in an equality cage, which is not allowed, so that can't be a 5. There you go. It's a lovely piece of logic. That is actually a 5 on the diagonal arrow, so that's the 5. These are not 5s, these are not 5s. One of these is a 5. I'll figure out later what that is. And therefore this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ironic. And that diagonal is pointing back itself. That 5 tells me that's not the 5, that's the 5, that's 1, that's 3. Doesn't help me disambiguate the 2 and 4, unfortunately. But here's something that does actually. Have a look at this equality cage. So this equality cage is made up of 1 low and 1 high digit. And therefore there's another low and high digit. And the only 2 that I can think of are 3, 6 and 4, 8. Now, because they're not 3, 6, they're in the column already. That is 4, 8. And it's 2 even digits. These would have to be from 1, 3, 7, 9. We'll figure that out later. But more importantly, the 4, 8 is now pointing back at this 2, 4. That's a 2. That's an 8. I really should carry, oh, this is 5, this arrow is pointing towards it, that's a 2, therefore this is 1 or 3, not 7 or 9, and therefore this is not 1 or 3, this is 7 or 9. This has to be 6 or 8, just, you know, white dot. And because this is a high even digit, this has to be a low odd digit, this is 1 or 3. Well, I'm going to just carry on colouring all of these, just on the off chance I am spotting something else with these 5s. It's not that far. I mean, for example, that's no longer a 1. It is only a 6 or 7. Ironically, I was saying it's not 6 or 7, but it is. That's also purple. 5 is in one of these. 5 is one of these. In fact, 5 is in one of these 2 cells. That's not a 5. That is a 5. That's 4 or 6. That's another purple cell. And we've very nearly found all of the 5s. That is a 4. Well, I mean, we've already found it, I just didn't use it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7, that's fine. Can I break this, or should I just move 1 from 5s? I'm tempted to say I should move 1 from 5s. And we can just pencil mark those last remaining arrows. So this is either 1, 3 or 4. If it is 1 or 3, it can't be a 4, so that's another purple. And that feels like as far as I can take it at this point. So essentially I'm sort of left with the other Sudoku variant rule set. So I haven't really thought about this equality cage, haven't thought about any of the X's, and I haven't thought about the black Kropki. I'm ignoring the white because basically anything can go on white Kropki. So what I'm going to do is just corner pencil mark the 5s and then just lose the color so you can actually see what on earth is going on. Right, here is something. This is again 1, 3, or 7, 9. Can't be 2, 8, can't be 4, 6. This is 2, 6. That's a 4. That bounces back and gives me an 8. That's another 4. That's lovely. More logic with equality cages. That's a low digit. That's a low digit. There will be another low digit on this X. If you're trying to get to a 10, you need a low digit, as in 1, 2, 3, or 4, with a high digit, 6, 7, 8, or 9. So there is another low digit in here, and therefore there are high digits in there. Except it's not 8, and it's not 6, it's 7 and 9. I've got 3 odd digits. I need 3 even digits. And this is not 4, 6. This is 2, 8. And that 2 tells me the order. That's 8. That's 2. That's 7, 9. Well, it's not a 9 because the 8 is not available. That's a 7. That's a 6. That's a 9. This is flowing lovely. That 1 you can see in column 9 can only be in here. And now we're left with 3. So I've gone blind for a second. 9. That 3 tells me that's the 3, that's the 9. This is not 3, 6. That is not 1. So this is from 2, 4, and 8. You notice the 2, 8 in here tells me that the 4 has to be down at the bottom. That's 2 or 8. That can't be a 2, 8 because it's looking right at it. That's the second 2, 8. In fact, that 6 actually bounced back in here. I just ignored it for some reason. Therefore, that's the 5. That's not a 5. That's not a 5. And then to finish this, that's the 6. That's box 9 pretty much done at this point. Ironically, these 5s, I still don't know what's going on. This is still 1 or 3. So no, I'm not actually sure if I can disambiguate this. Yes, yes, no, no, yep, that is correct. That is 6. That's 7. Therefore, that's a 3. Therefore, this is 1, 9. I got excited for a second and then just made 0 progress. Never mind. That's 1, 3, just completing row 2. No, I was going to say this is 1, 5 pair. Just looking at this, but that's not correct. That one of these is a 1. I am tempted to, in the interest of time, just move on. Right, we haven't done this X. It is not 2, 8. It is not 4, 6. It could be 1, 9 or 3, 7. Both are options still. Time to think about this equality cage. So one option is it is a low odd digit, which would be a 1, which would put a 1 in here and an 8 there. That seemingly works. The other possibility is it's a low even digit, which would be a 4. You can see this 4 forces it in here with a 7 or 9, and that 7 tells me it's not available with 4, 9. That's 1, 9. Can't be a 1, 9 pair anymore on this X, therefore it is 3, 7. That's a second 1, 9, presumably just to complete row 9. Let's think about this white Kropki dot. It can't have 1, 2, 3, can't have 4. Where is 4 in box 7? You can see if none of these are 4, well, we've pinned it down. That's a 4, that's a 9, that's a 1. This is 7 and 8. That 7 tells me the order. That's 7, that's 8. That 9, yes, gives me a 1 and 9. This 2 ages ago gave me a 6 and a 2 that I just ignored. That 1 gives me the 3 here. I know what this digit is. It is an 8. It's still not resolved. 3, 7, not resolved. This 3, this 1. So essentially all the arrows are done except for this one. And it's telling me that one of these is a 5, which, you know, I figured. But I'm not sure how to disambiguate it. So I've done all the X's. Basically all the black Kropki dots, all the equality cages. Probably Sudoku to the rescue. This is 5 and 7. This is from 1, 4, and 9, I'm going to say. It's not a 1, it's not a 4. 149. We have a second 2, 8. That's an 8. That's 2, just because there's an 8 in the box. Now we need 2 and 6 to finish. Can't disambiguate. And then we have 1, 9, and something else. What is that something else? 4. That's not a 4. It's not enough. More Sudoku. You can see 1 is in one of these 2 cells. As I was doing it, I was actually about to place a 1 where I am here. But again, I remember that this is still not resolved. So that wasn't a very useful pencil mark. I was sort of celebrating it almost. So what do I need? 4 is fixed. That's a 4. So essentially I have 1, 3, 5, and an 8. Well, none of these are 8. That's the 8. That has to be the 5 now. That has to be a 1. That has to be a 3. That's not a 5. I have a 5 X-wing, which almost doesn't matter at this point. Because we've got all of our arrows. It's just like any normal digit at this point. We have 3 digits that are 2, 6, 9, I'm going to say. That's not a 2. And these are 5, 7, and 3. That's not a 3, that's not a 5. So you can use uniqueness here to say these can't be both 5 7s, otherwise you're not going to be able to disambiguate it. And therefore that's not a 3, that's a 7, but we'll prove it's unique rather than assume it is unique. We'll carry on seeing what other Sudoku can help me. I'm sure this white Kropki dot is there for a reason. So we need 1, 6, and 9, I'm going to venture. If that's a 9, that's an 8. That's not possible. That's not a 9. This is 1 or 6. If that's a 1, that would be a 2. Also not possible. That's just 6. And luckily, that's a 5. Telling me that's not a 5. That is a 7. That is a 3. Whoa. Have I made a mistake? Remember what I said about uniqueness, and then suddenly I can't see it. That's a 9. These are not 9s. Have I got some arrow that I'm missing? Must have made a mistake somewhere that I'm just not seeing just yet. That's a 7. These are from 2 and 8, I'm going to venture. That's not a 9. This is another 1, 4. I don't know why I'm carrying on rather than looking for the mistake, which I really should be doing. Yes, that's not 5, 7. Sleuth, pay attention. There was a 4, and the 4 would have disambiguated this ages ago. That's why. So I did make a mistake, but thankfully it wasn't difficult to rectify. And therefore this is not 4s. These are 7s. And that's 7, and that 7 tells me that's the 7. None of these are 7, no 4s. That's a 9, that's a 1, that's a 4. So much better. 4. Got a 1, 9 pair. Essentially I have a 2 or 8 in here. And 8 doesn't work because of the 7. And 9. 9? No, wait. 8 and 9 could work. No, it doesn't because of the 1, 9 pair. So 8 is not in here. Therefore 8 is up there. 8, 2. And then what is in here? So either 2, 6 or 3. I mean, it's definitely a 3. Just Sudoku tells me there's a 3 in here. I don't know why I didn't see that. But specifically, it's in here, and the 6 can't join a 3 on a white Kropki dot, so that is the 2, that is a 6, that is a 2. That probably finishes the puzzle for us if I can just do some simple Sudoku without messing up. I need an 8 in this column, it can only go in there. This is 1 or 9, it is a 9 because of this 1, 1, 9, 1, 9. 2 more digits, I need a 6, it can only be in here, and then to finish it all off, assuming I've made no other mistakes, that's the 1 and the finish for today's puzzle. Phenomenal puzzle as always, gUBBLOR. I absolutely adore these puzzles. I guess the fact that I've done, I don't know, 11, I have done more than this though, because I skipped ahead, I remember, so I've probably done 12 or 13 at this point. And I've even recorded a special where he gave me a sneak peek for a special day in the future. So yeah, once you've done 30 and 14 of these puzzles, they kind of roll very quickly, despite the 2-star rating. Hope that you guys enjoyed the puzzle, I certainly did, and the video wasn't too messy like this afternoon's. So, hope to see you guys soon, and bye-bye for now.